Yeah, my channel name is Game Nasher, but that doesn't mean I can't do movie reviews too. So I want to talk about Alita Battle Angel. I know it's a bit late to talk about it. The movie's been out for probably well over a month, but I just have to talk about it. It's absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite movies this year by far, completely by far. It's based off of a manga created by Yukito Kishiro. The manga is called Gundam. It's pretty good from what I've read so far. I've read a little bit of it. And the director of the movie was Robert Rodriguez, who's made movies like Machete, Sin City, and of course the legendary Shark Boy and Lava Girl. You can't forget about that one. It was also produced by the incredibly talented James Cameron, and most people know him. He directed Terminator, Avatar, one of my personal favorite movies of all time, Aliens. And when you have talent like this, you know it's going to be a good movie. If you haven't seen it already, it takes place in Iron City in the year 2563, and Iron City, in terms of where we are, like our Earth's cities and states and all, it's somewhere around Texas, from what I've read, and it takes place 300 years after the Terraforming Wars, which is something they go into a little bit in the movie, but I'm not gonna spoil anything for this movie in case you want to see it yourself or decide you will like to see it after watching this review. But above Iron City looms the final sky city known as Zalem. A cyber doctor known as Ito is searching through the garbage dropped from Zalem for parts when he comes across the broken down cyborg who he decides to name Alita. She lost her memory and is taken in by Ito. With no memory, she slowly adapts to her life in Iron City. She meets people, makes friends, and slowly learns about things about her past throughout the movie. Now, I think it's better to start off talking about the negatives of the movie before I talk about the positives, because the positives I think are going to take up a whole lot more time than the negatives, because I really don't have too many negatives. But when it comes to the villains, I'm not a big fan of them. I think they're very weak villains. I thought Vector was okay. I really like Mahershala Ali in any role he plays, really. They're just kind of weak villains, both in personality and power. Like, they never really could stand a chance against her, and honestly, they're very generic, well, 80s manga villains. But I think a well-written villain and a compelling villain can improve a story tenfold. I mean, look at Joker or Zod or Thanos. Like, great villains, great writing, and they really improve on the film. And, I mean, I don't think Nova really had that, and I don't think they flesh him out in any way in this film. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be in the next one a whole lot more, but right now he's just kind of the shadowy background type villain. And where I get why they did that, I get that they have to set this up. But I was just saying, for this film itself, he's very, very much a weak villain. Besides that, the rest of the movie is absolutely astounding. Alita and the supporting cast are all very likable and relatable characters. The setting and history of the world is interesting and makes for some cool visuals and interesting struggles that the characters go through. Alita herself is an incredible character and one that I believe is close to being as awesome as characters like Ripley, Laurie Strode, and Wonder Woman. She's just so relatable for me personally. There's this feeling of being somewhere that you really don't know well, and I get that a lot. I understand that from my perspective of moving in the past. But Alita, she adapts to her life, and when life pushes at her, she pushes back even harder. She just goes stronger and harder. It's just such a great character. And she also is able to keep her feminine qualities, as we see with how she interacts with Hugo. And speaking of Hugo, he and most of the other supporting characters are great. The standouts for me personally have to be Hugo and Ito. Hugo is this street boy who wants to make it to Zalem, and he's also the love interest of Alita in the movie. And although their love story could be very cringy at times, I still enjoy it a lot, and you can definitely see how much the characters care for each other. And Dr. Ito is also one of my favorite characters. He's basically the father figure for Alita, and his reasons for doing what he does and taking care of Alita definitely make his character a lot more likable, and he was really one of the highlights of the movie. Very enjoyable. Now the action in this movie is it's really flashy, really cool. Feels like you're watching a live action anime, which I mean that's exactly what they were going for, and they nailed it. It was awesome. And the CGI to enhance that, the CGI, I mean, it's probably the best I've ever seen. I think it's right up there with Lord of the Rings for me. This just incredible CGI. She looked so real, and it was absolutely insane. And the other cyborgs and robots looked just as real. And seeing them next to real people, it was just couldn't even tell they were CGI. It was crazy. Now I've watched the OVA, and it really doesn't make too many differences. The movie just expands and improves upon what was there and still manages to keep most of Gundam's plot and characters the same and intact. The only thing from the OVA that I really wish was in the movie was Clive Lee, but from what I've read, the director said that he wants to use him in a later movie, so he'll still get used. He's a really cool character that I enjoyed a lot. Now, the movie soundtrack was really, really good. It was made by Junkie XL, and he did the music for Batman vs. Superman and Deadpool, and I've always enjoyed his music. It's always really good, and this is no different from anything else he's done. This movie has really shown me that live-action anime movies have the possibility to be amazing. I mean, after duds like Dragon Ball Devolution and Death Note, I had little to no hope that we would ever get a good live-action anime movie besides Guyver Dark Hero. That was awesome. You remember that one. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. This came along and it blew me away, though. Really just the best anime manga movie that I've ever seen. I really hope it teaches people that you don't have to differentiate or stray your movies away from the thing you're basing it off of. Too many video game and anime movies do this, and they almost always turn out like crap. But this movie followed the OVA very well, very closely, and only made small improvements, and it turned out great. I love this movie. I mean, I really, really love this movie. It's made me an instant Alita/Gundam fan. And I had never even heard of Alita until I saw the trailers for this movie, and I thought it looked weird, and I had no intention of going to see it. Of course, I went against my judgment and decided to see it anyway, and I'm really glad I did, because if I didn't, I would have never known about the exciting world of Gundam and the exciting character that is Alita. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my Alita review, and I plan to do more reviews in the future of other movies I like, and maybe I'll do some discussion videos about series that I really enjoy. But until then, this is Game Nasher, and I'll catch you on the flip-flop.